Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Military Weapons, and today we're going to talk about the People's Army of Vietnam. The People's Army of Vietnam is also known as the Vietnamese People's Army and is the military force of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. The People's Army of Vietnam is part of the Vietnam People's Armed Forces and includes its ground force, Navy, Air Force, Border Defense Force, Coast Guard, Cyberspace Operations, and Mausoleum Defence Force. However, Vietnam does not have a separate ground force or army branch. During the French Indochina War, the People's Army of Vietnam was often referred to as the Viet Minh. The context of the Vietnam War, the army was referred to as the North Vietnamese Army, allowing writers, the U.S. military, and the general public to distinguish Northern Communists from Southern Communists, called the Viet Cong or the National Liberation Front. However, both groups ultimately worked under the same command structure. The Viet Cong had its own military called the Liberation Army of South Vietnam, and it was considered a branch of the People's Army of Vietnam by the North Vietnamese. In 2010, the People's Army of Vietnam undertook the role of leading the 1000th anniversary parade in Hanoi by performing their biggest parade in history. When it comes to ground forces, all ground troops, Army Corps, military districts, and specialized arms belong to the Ministry of Defense, directly under the command of the Central Military Commission, the Minister of Defense, and the General Staff of the Vietnam People's Army. The military flag of the People's Army of Vietnam is the flag of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, with the words "Determination to Win" added in yellow at the top left. Of its military expenditures, it includes a budget of $5 billion with a 2.4% GDP. It features impressive active personnel of over 482,000 people, with 3 million in reserve and 30 million available at all times. It features a tank arsenal of 1,509 with 2,380 AFVs, 2,524 artillery, 280 self-propelled guns, and a rocket artillery of 1,094. The Vietnam People's Navy, commonly known as the Vietnamese Navy or the Vietnamese People's Navy, is the naval branch of Vietnam People's Army and is responsible for the protection of the country's national waters, islands, and interests of the maritime economy, as well as for the coordination of maritime police, customs service, and the Border Defense Force. It has a total naval regiment of 173 with 7 frigates, 23 corvettes, and 6 submarines. The Vietnam People's Air Force is the Air Force of Vietnam. It is the successor of the former Vietnamese Air Force and absorbed the Republic of Vietnam Air Force following the reunification of Vietnam in 1975. The Vietnam People's Air Force is one of three main branches in the Vietnam People's Army, which is a part of the Ministry of Defense. The main mission of the Vietnam People's Air Force is the defense of Vietnamese airspace and the provision of air cover for operations of the People's Army of Vietnam. It features a total aircraft of 274, which includes 37 fighters, 24 multi-role aircrafts, 36 attack aircraft, and 145 helicopters. During the Vietnamese Lunar New Year holiday, which began January 30th of 1968, the People's Army of Vietnam launched a general offensive in more than 60 cities and towns throughout south of Vietnam against the U.S. Army and Army of the Republic of Vietnam, beginning with operations in the border region to try and draw U.S. forces and the Army of the Republic of Vietnam troops out of major cities. In coordinated attacks, the U.S. Embassy in Saigon, Presidential Palace, headquarters of the Joint General Staff, and the Republic of Vietnam Navy, along with television and radio stations, Tan Son Nhat Air Base in Saigon, were all attacked by commando forces known as Viet Cong. This offensive became known as the Tet Offensive. The People's Army of Vietnam sustained heavy losses of its main forces in southern military zones, and some of its regular forces and command structure had to escape to Laos and Cambodia to avoid counterattacks from U.S. forces and the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, while local guerrilla forces and political organizations in South Vietnam were exposed and had a hard time remaining within the Delta area due to extensive use of the Phoenix program. Nearly 2 years after the full United States withdrawal from Indochina in accordance with the terms of the 1973 Paris Peace Accords, the People's Army of Vietnam launched a spring offensive aimed at uniting Vietnam. Without direct support of the United States and suffering from the stresses caused by dwindling aid, the ARVN was ill-prepared to confront the highly motivated People's Army of Vietnam. And despite the paper superiority of the ARVN, the People's Army of Vietnam quickly secured victory within 2 months, capturing Saigon on April 30th of 1975. Effectively ending 70 years of conflict which stemmed from French colonial invasions of the 19th century and thus unifying Vietnam. After its national reunification, the Liberation Army of South Vietnam was officially merged into the People's Army of Vietnam on July the 2nd of 1976. Thanks for watching this video. What do you think about the People's Army of Vietnam and what we talked about today? Leave your comment below. Also be sure to subscribe with the bell turned on for notifications and like this video to see more in the future. Thanks for watching.